Welcome back to Barley and Hops. I'm George. Yes, the channel that dares to unlock the mysteries of home distilling. And today we've got one for you. Aluminum.
Come all you moonshiners if you want to hear.
Yes, this is going to be controversial. And you can tell by the smile on my face that I know it's a coming. That's right. Let's talk about, believe it or not, there are three major myths in the distilling community that have plagued us for years and years. And we're going to cover them today. And we'll start off, the first one is, here they are, aluminum, copper, and methanol. All right? We're going to cover them real quick. First of all, and I know this is controversial, so please send in your comments, but please be polite. Now, aluminum, can you use aluminum in a still? Well, I guess the best question to ask at this point is, why can't you? Now, I've spent months, again, and you know that I do a lot of research, I do a lot of studying, do a lot of experimentation, and I have yet, just as is with copper, have yet to find any evidence, any scientific data, any peer-reviewed information that would lend itself to advise us not to use aluminum. There is none. Okay, bottom line, cut to the chase. Before you even start, aluminum does not leach through, even if you've got a spirit running through it, okay? Aluminum doesn't deteriorate and break down under high temperature, not the temperatures we're talking about, okay? Aluminum doesn't leave an off flavor or an off odor to your spirit. It doesn't do any of those things. The only thing aluminum does is it reacts with the atmosphere and oxygen and creates aluminum oxide, which is that coating inside your aluminum pots and pans. And it's not necessary to scrub it out and make it shiny again, because guess what? That stuff will reappear. It's a protective coating. It's there by itself, and it's there for a good purpose. The only reaction that aluminum has with an acidic environment, which is a low pH mash that we put in there, is its potential, and I say again, the potential for micro-pitting of the metal. You're not going to pit an aluminum pot enough to deteriorate that pot to make it unsafe in your lifetime. So get off the bandwagon. That's George's opinion. Aluminum is an acceptable material to use to make a still. There are literally thousands of them now in the community. And you know what? Unfortunately, those folks are ashamed to say openly that, yeah, I have an aluminum still. I'm using an aluminum crock pot, or I'm using an aluminum pressure cooker, and I'm making moonshine. They're afraid to say that because of the ridicule and because of the naysayers. And as I always say, if I tell you something, don't take it at face value. Check. Do some research. It's not that hard. In today's environment, there is very little that you cannot find out if you have access to certain libraries. Gain access and do your own research. When someone tells you something, please check. When I tell you something, please check. I don't mind being checked. That's a compliment. Okay, let's move on. So aluminum is perfectly fine. There's no reason. If you ever asked me about aluminum still, I would have always said, that's better to avoid aluminum. I've never said don't use aluminum. It's just better to avoid it. Of the three materials, copper, stainless steel, and aluminum, it is not as good as stainless steel. And there's a debate about stainless steel and copper, oh, by the way, but it's not as good, but it's not bad. The only evidence I did find, oh, by the way, was a subnote in a subparagraph, was that, well, you know, it would cause a marketing challenge. You think? Probably so. With the myth of, and it's prevalent throughout the community, that everybody knows that you don't use aluminum. And if you did, and you were a producer and you made aluminum still, how many do you think you would sell? So yes, it is a marketing challenge, but that is it. Now, on to copper. How many times have you heard it's got to be made out of copper? If it's not made out of copper, it's not useful. It's useless. It'll make your moonshine taste bad. It's got to be made out of copper or else. Well, or else what? Ask the questions. You will get a litany of answers, of which all have yet to be, and I say this openly, and I say this with as much love and affection as I possibly can, have yet to be provided. I've asked numerous times if you've got empirical data or scientific evidence, a peer-reviewed paper, an experiment, or something that you can show that copper has a positive and or a negative effect on a distillate, please provide it to us. I made that challenge years ago. I'm still waiting. I'd make that same challenge with aluminum, and I'm sure I'll wait for a long, long time. My friends, it's a myth, okay? And unfortunately, those who perpetuate that myth, it normally comes from, well, I heard, I was told, I read. I use this phrase all the time. People will say any damn thing. Walk into a Walmart and ask a middle-aged man how to make moonshine. He's going to tell you everything that he knows, has heard, or believes, and he's never made a drop. But he's going to feel obligated to tell you about it. So consider your sources, check your information, and let's move on to the next topic. Okay? Oh, by the way, I've done the blind test, and I've done this many, many times over the years. And I'll take 2 shots and lay them in front of someone and say, that one was made with copper, and that one was made out of a stainless steel still. Taste them. Tell me the difference. And in almost every case, not every, there are some exceptions, but in almost every case, they will choose the copper, say, that one I can tell, that one's better. And then I uncover the truth. Oh, they both came out of the same bottle. They came from a stainless steel still, and they're made exactly the same way. You see, once you plant the idea, the myth is already there. The rumor is already there that it's got to be made out of copper or else. But once you plant the myth that, that one's made out of copper, that all of a sudden tastes better. Let your conscience be your guide. On to methanol. Methanol is one of those that have, the methanol scare, I call it the methanol scare, and I still hear it today. The number of phone calls, emails, and texts that I get that revolve around this methanol are numerous because the scare is still out there. Let me try to say this as clearly as I possibly can. Okay? You will never create or make a run that has enough methanol that you could ever hurt anybody. Yes, George said that. That's right. The only way you're going to hurt someone is to separate the methanol at the beginning, as we do in the first 2 ounces, and drink that straight. That's pure methanol. That's poisonous. Think of it like this, my friends. We make beer, we make wine, we make mash or wash. Depends on what you want to call it and what you make it out of. They're all 3 made exactly the same way. The fermentable sugars, yeast, water, you let them ferment. All are equally made the same way with the same process. Okay? At the very end, you bottle your beer, you bottle your wine, but we distill our mash or wash. That's the only difference. We separate the ethanol from the water, whereas in the wine and the beer, we do not. We leave it in there. Now, why do we separate the methanol? Because we can. We just know that, first of all, and before you write in about smearing, methanol has no azeotrope with a water mixture, like ethanol does, which means that methanol leaves 100% all by itself. It's the very first thing that comes off, It happens at 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Remember, ethanol doesn't vaporize or boil off until 173.8 at sea level. So methanol is going to come off first whether you like it or not. So you cannot manipulate it. You cannot maneuver around it. There's nothing you can do to prevent it. So the first 2 ounces per 5 gallons is what you toss out. If at the end of the day, just toss out the first. And look, if you're trying to save 2 ounces, find you another hobby. Those 2 ounces are they're not going to make you or break you. Toss out the first 2 ounces, be safe, okay? Chances are you'll not produce 2 full ounces, but toss out the first 2 ounces. Okay, so we separate the methanol. In the beer and the wine, we do not. It's smeared across the whole batch. And yes, there is evidence that shows that it's the methanol that after consuming too many beers or too much wine, you get a headache. A good clean moonshine does not leave you with a headache the next morning. Go figure. Okay. So that is the scare. That is the myth about methanol. Remember, in order for you to hurt someone or yourself or to make something that is dangerous or poisonous, you have to do something nefarious, which means you have to purposely, you have to think through this. It is harder. It is much, much more difficult to make it poisonous than it is to do it correctly and just make moonshine. You have to do something purposeful in order to do that. You have to introduce methanol. You have to introduce something else in order to create that. Now, before you even start, and yes, I've read them. I know I've had people send in the newspaper articles from far off lands, from even around the United States and in different places. Yes, about 10, 19, or 30 people got sick. 10 people died. It was methanol poisoning. I understand that. Yeah. Read through the column in the article, and you will always find in those articles, well, the contents could not be verified, or the ingredients used to make this concoction were not verified or validated. Somewhere in there, you'll find that. And if you don't, it was purposely omitted. Because it's easier to blame, it's easier to just blame a safe hobby than it is to actually look into the nefarious practices of someone who's made something that was not so pleasant. There, I've covered all 3 of them. Aluminum. Should you use aluminum? I would say, avoid aluminum if you can. Stainless steel is so much better. It's a lot easier to clean, a lot easier to maintain. Copper's really good. It's just hard to clean. Okay, it's good. Aluminum, it's good. It's about the same with stainless steel. It's not that difficult to clean, but it just kind of looks awful, you know. It could be a marketing challenge. Yeah. Again, copper. You've heard what I got to say about copper, and methanol is just another one of those scares. I don't know what else I can offer you. So please write in, and in the future, look, should you decide to call, and yes, I don't get to all the calls now. I'm sorry. I just can't get to the 30 or 40 calls a day when someone's watched one video and decided they're going to get me on the phone for 30 or 40 minutes and ask me everything that they need to know about. It's not going to happen. It's not. I'm sorry. I'm just going to cut it off. I've got to go. I've got another call to get to. And if you're going to send me an email, please be polite, and please, brevity is the key to success. If you're going to ask a question, please just ask a question. If I open an email and that email has 15 questions, trust me, I'm going to close it and go to the next email. That's just the way it is, okay? This is a free service, so I can choose to not answer the email if I want to. And trust me, I'm not going to go through that. If you write a paragraph and I see like 8 or 9 question marks in that paragraph, I'm sorry, my friends, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I go through hundreds of emails and texts a day, and I'm not going to get through them. by stopping and answering 8 or 9 different questions buried in a paragraph or 15 of them laid out. It's not going to happen. Sorry. Until next time, yes, the channel that dares to unlock the mysteries of home distilling, and we're glad you're here with us. Happy distilling.